Caution, highly addictive painting fun. So this is a great activity for you, for your kiddos or your grandkiddos. I put my mixed pour paints in squeeze bottles, and my son and I had an absolute blast painting rocks. It sounds boring on paper, but it's actually super fun. It's fast-paced, each one is unique and exciting, so it's kind of like a magic trick almost to see how it turns out. And when you're finished with these, you can put them in potted plants or around your garden, or I think it'd even be fun to leave some of these on a hiking trail or near a park, so other kiddos could just be walking along and, oh my word, see like a really pretty rock, you know? And so you can spread joy through your art. So I'm just going to show you a few techniques that I did. None of my squeeze bottles had silicone in them because I wanted the option to do a ribbon pour or just some other things that I didn't want silicone for. So I played with putting the silicone directly on the poured paint and then swiping it with a piece of plastic. And I also tried it by putting the silicone directly on the palette knife and then smearing it around. And I also did a mini flip cup and put the silicone in between each of the layers. And here I did a ribbon pour. These were some of my favorites. A couple turned out good too with the leftover paint puddle and just smearing them around and seeing what you get. So here's what I learned from my first time painting rocks. It's great because the leftover puddle of paint is an easy base coat for your next rock. So smear it around in there, see if you get a pretty rock. If it's not pretty, then there's your base coat. Swiping the whole rock with one big swipe is difficult because the rocks have uneven surfaces. Even if you think you get a pretty flat one, it can scrape off the higher points. So little micro swipes work the best on the swiping ones. Also, I found I like to leave my bases super thick on the bottom so the top can dry, and then I can wipe off the base after a few hours to let the natural rock part show. I also found letting them dry in little plastic Dixie cups was useful. I have let some of them just dry on the paper, and the paper is sealed to the base, so then I had to scrape it off, and it was a little high maintenance that way. So here they are dry. I recommend letting them dry and cure before varnishing. On these, I applied a gloss spray after 24 hours, which is not enough time for them to cure. And I did run into a few problems of if I sprayed it too thick in areas, that thicker part kind of like lifted up some of the dry paint. It's almost like it got under it or reactivated it, so there were some smeary spots on them. I found using very thin and even layers of a gloss spray worked really well. And I recommend getting a really good seal on these, especially if they're going to be outside or even inside in a plant pot that gets water. Applying acrylic to just straight rock, not having like a gesso on them or something like that, means that the acrylic can just pretty much soak off if they get wet. So that's why you want to have a really good seal to them. I haven't tried gessoing the rocks and then applying the paint and seeing how that holds up. But just to be on the safe side, I'm just going to seal them as good as I can. So this is a fun way to try different techniques and really low commitment level on time. And if you don't like the results, super easy to just pour over. And this is such a fun activity for kids because, like I said, low commitment, you know, each one can turn out really pretty, and you just get a burn and churn through all the different rocks. So there you have it. I will probably do a tutorial if y'all are interested, but really it's a super easy pour painting experience just to dive in and start having fun. So thanks for watching.